Anapodium vulgare, wild basil. This plant is the wild relative of the basil we typically use in our kitchens. Although they have different tastes and different smells, the wild basil is slightly aromatic, much more aromatic actually than the basil. Like true basil, it is, however, part of the mint family, which helps to give this wildflower its other name, cushion calamint. The cushion part comes from the rounded, fine-haired, covered cluster of sepals that grow at its very top. This is a really nice smelling plant. Wild basil was used during the medieval times as a strewing herb. This means that it would be scattered all over the floors of the homes that people lived in. So when they walked upon them, it would be crushed and it would release a really nice aroma. Oddly, despite the purple hue of its flowers, it creates a dye that is somewhat brown or yellow in color. It was traditionally used to treat flatulence. It was also used in traditional remedies where it had really quite a wide variety of functions ranging from clearing airways to stimulating heart rate. Even though it's thought to have antibacterial properties, many countries around the world have used this plant traditionally in the treatment of wounds. Specifically in Bulgaria, wild basil has been used in traditional medicine, and actually more so to this day as well, for the treatment of skin irritation and swelling. And it's also been used in the process to relieve the symptoms associated with mastitis and prostatitis. But here in Canada and the United States, where do we find this plant? It grows primarily in the northeast of the United States and eastern Canada, some southern states, and the northwest. But it also appears scattered in other states as well in the prairies, because this is also a very popular plant amongst gardeners to cultivate. These flowers are so pretty. The lip-like flowers are lobed, with 2 lobes on the top lip and 3 on the bottom. These are fused into a long tube which is located behind them, and you can see that on the top flower. The empty purple-brown sepals form the largest part of the whorls, with flowers only growing from the most outermost areas. It flowers anywhere from late June and well into September, and the seeds ripen from August to September. This species is a hermaphrodite, meaning it has both male and female organs, and it's pollinated by bees, moths, butterflies, as well as some insects. Wild basil has a square stem, and this, of course, is indicative of just about every plant in the mint family. So if you take a really good look here, you can tell that this is certainly not rounded. And in addition to it being square, they have fine hairs. Now over to the leaves. The leaves are typical of the mint family, in which they grow opposite one another on the stem. They're somewhat oval in shape, and the margins are toothed right along there. Depending on where this plant is growing, it generally likes along woodlands, forests, the outside edges. And if it's in really good rich soil, this plant can reach 20 to 24 inches tall quite easily. And the leaves will get to about anywhere from 1 to 2.5 inches long and 1 inch wide. In those leaves, there is a significant amount of phenols and flavonoids, and this makes it well worth seeking out. You can gather the leaves, dry them for future use, or use them fresh. They make a great cup of tea, or you can use it as a flavoring agent in cooked foods. You can also toss it into salads, but what I like doing the most with this is getting some organic apple cider vinegar and allowing the leaves to infuse in the vinegar for about 4, 5, 6 weeks, and then strain them out, and I've got an incredible organic apple cider vinegar. I always make sure that the leaves are free of all moisture before putting them into the vinegar, and I shake it up every so often, but I make sure I'm letting it sit somewhere where it's not in direct sunlight. But wild basil, most definitely an edible plant that is well worth seeking out. So now I'm going to show you a video that I took a couple years ago that I discovered when I was going through my files of what this looks like out in the wild.